Why has this house only got 3 walls? What was the purpose of this building? And how are both of them connected to this guy? Rushton Lodge is one of the most intriguing buildings in Britain. Built between 1593 and 1597, it was the brainchild of wealthy landowner Sir Thomas Tresham. Tresham was a Catholic at a time when Catholics were viewed with great suspicion in England. In 1570, the Pope had excommunicated England's Protestant Queen Elizabeth I, which led to a plot by some Catholic lords to replace Elizabeth with her cousin, Mary Queen of Scots. In the end, Mary was imprisoned and executed in 1587. The following year, the Spanish sent an armada of ships to invade England and reclaim it for Catholicism. Although Thomas Tresham was never implicated in any plots against the Queen, his refusal to attend the Church of England and his insistence that the state had no jurisdiction when it came to matters of conscience bought him large fines and several years in prison. On his release in 1593, Tresham designed this groundkeeper's lodge to be built in his Rushton estate. The Elizabethan fascination with symbolism, numerology and cryptic puzzles is evident on every surface and feature of the lodge. The most obvious is the triangular ground plan. In fact, the number 3 is everywhere. Windows full of triangles and trefoils, 3 gables on each side, 3 stories and 3 chimneys. The central chambers are hexagonal, creating 3 triangular spaces on each floor, 3 within 3, and a total of 12 rooms. The clue to the meaning of all of these 3s is found inscribed above the entrance. Tres testimonium dant, 3 it is that testify, referring to a description of the Trinity found in the Gospel of St. John. The word tres has a double meaning, as it is also the pet name that Tresham's wife used in letters to her husband, making this building the testimony of Thomas Tresham himself, as well as a paean to the Holy Trinity. More religious symbols appear at the top of the building. A Jewish menorah, the 7 eyes of God, God's hand touching the world, a pelican, a serpent and a dove, and on the triple chimney, the lamb and cross, a Eucharistic chalice, and the monogram IHS, the first 3 letters of the Greek name for Jesus. Anyone coming to view the building could be left in no doubt about its message, although there is a hidden code as well. The length of each external wall is exactly 33 feet, and there are 33 steps from the basement to the top. Around the walls are 3 Latin texts, each containing 33 letters. The number 33 is, of course, 3 times 11, 11 being the number of Jesus' disciples without Judas. Did Thomas Tresham perhaps want us to think of him as the replacement disciple? Tresham has also left us 2 other buildings. In 1577, he designed a market house for the nearby town of Rothwell, which he described as a gift in gratitude for his beloved country and Northamptonshire, and most of all the neighbouring town. The building originally had an open space on the ground floor for a market. In the 19th century, a meeting room was added to the upper story and the ground floor arches filled in. This space is now occupied by a charity shop. Perhaps Thomas might have approved. Opposite the building, a local lane is named in his honour. Even this functional building does not escape the Tresham penchant for religious symbolism. As viewed from the top, the building is clearly in the form of an icon cross. A few miles to the east of Rushton Lodge we find Tresham's final building in the grounds of Lyvedon Manor. The exact purpose of the Lyvedon New Bield, as it was called, is another mystery, and Tresham died before it was completed. The Anglo-Saxon word bield meant courage, and is where we get our word for boldness. It also came to mean a shelter or protection. The house is not quite large enough to be a permanent residence. However, it still contained a great hall, a buttery and servants' quarters. In Elizabethan times, the practice of maintaining a secret house in the grounds of an estate was not uncommon, often as a place of retreat or perhaps additional lodgings. Like the triangular lodge, the plan of the building is its most important feature. Its cruciform shape is laid out on 3 floors, each one with 3 rooms, with one of the arms of the cross containing a staircase. The building is also covered with some of the same religious symbolism, a final testament to the faith of its designer. Thomas Tresham died in 1605 with debts resulting from his building projects, but that's not the end of the story. Tresham's Catholic faith was shared by his family and especially his son Francis. In the same year that Thomas died, Francis, a well-known Jesuit sympathiser, became embroiled in the famous Gunpowder Plot to blow up the House of Lords during the state opening of Parliament. The plot was only discovered when an anonymous letter was sent to William Parker, 4th Baron Monteagle, warning him not to attend the event. Although the author of the Monteagle letter was never discovered, suspicion fell on William Parker's brother-in-law, none other than Francis Tresham. Francis was imprisoned in the Tower for his part in the plot and died of natural causes later that year before he could be either tried or executed. The tensions between Catholic and Protestant were as much a political struggle as a theological one, and will continue for another century, leading to the deposing of James II and the passing of laws which made it illegal for the monarch to be either Catholic or even married to a Catholic, not to mention over a century of civil conflict in Ireland. Meanwhile, Thomas Tresham's earnest and revealing architectural legacy is here to remind us that acting on our conscience can sometimes require bravery and boldness in the face of opposition and persecution.